let's start off with some quick math to just go over what a typical commission might be and how that would potentially change based on whether or not you have a 100% commission structure or you're on a commission split. We're going to use the same example we have linked in the article at tampaschoolofrealestate.com. But in this example, we're doing this off of a $10,000 commission. Now you might ask, what type of sale do you need to get yourself to a $10,000 commission? Well, it's not much. It's only about a $333,000 home at about 3% commission gives you $10,000. Now, if you're at a 100% brokerage, that essentially means that this $10,000 is 100% yours, or almost, because there's usually some sort of transaction fees, anything like that. And so we're going to sum this together with the example we've got here in the article, and we'll just call it $750. Could be more than that, could be less than that, could be a fee that's paid by your client, could be a lot of different things. But if that $750 was coming out of your commission, we'll just take our handy-dandy Tampa School of Real Estate calculator, punch that in here, 10,000 minus 750, and we should end up with $9,250. So not quite 100% exactly, but significantly closer to that compared to a split model. Because in a commission split, you may still even have some sort of transaction fee along with the commission split, but there's other things that go along with that commission split as well, so we're going to talk about that. But let's side by side compare these, and let's say again, you've got a $10,000 commission, but now let's say that you've got 30% of that goes to your brokerage, which on an easy number like 10,000, we know that's going to be 3,000, but if you ever just need to double check, just punch in your calculator the commission amount, 10,000 times 0.3, which would be 30%. So that'd be $3,000 going to the office. And so we're just going to subtract that out. I'm going to label that as the split. And if you're solely looking at these things here and comparing these two items, would I rather have $750 or would I rather have $3,000? And maybe even $3,000 plus potentially other fees, errors and omission, maybe a small transaction fee, little things like that, to where the majority is still your commission split, but maybe this does end up being like $3,500 when it's all said and done, because maybe there are some hidden fees or extra fees or annual fees or whatever it may be that factor into that. But when you compare these numbers here, $9,250 versus $7,000, we're all of a sudden a lot closer, in my opinion at least, compared $750 to $3,000. $750 to $3,000, we're talking like 3 times as much, over 3 times as much, over 4 times as much, about 4 times as much in terms of what that $3,000 equals compared to, again, say $750 worth of transaction fees and cost at your 100% model. And so it seems like you're paying more, which, if you want to call it that, you are. But comparing these down here, what you're earning is not that far off. You're not getting 3 times less over here. So even though over here the broker's getting over 3 times more, about 4 times more, you're not getting 3 or 4 times less. You're getting about $2,200 less, which that $2,250 difference across 10 deals is going to get you $22,500 extra in your pocket. Which, as you start to become a producing agent, that's where this number starts to grow, because maybe you're not just doing 10 deals a year. Maybe you're doing 1 deal a month. That's 12 deals a year. That's going to continue to increase this number for each one of those deficits. And overall, again, if you look at the gross commission it is that you're bringing in here, because 10 deals, you're bringing in $92,500 to your end here, and then there's that $22,500 that would go to your brokerage, but you're still bringing in $70,000. And that's your difference between, if you did 10 of these deals, that'd be $70,000 versus 10 of these deals, it's $92,500. So yes, it is a difference. And that difference adds up the more transactions that you do. But honestly, if you haven't done a single transaction yet, this is probably going to be your better option. And the good news is, if you do choose to start with a commission split model, where you are having, let's say, 30% of that going to your brokerage, pull up another screen here and we'll kind of compare these side by side. So you got your 100%. And we're going to put that in quotes because even though they're called 100% and they're not splitting your commission, there are still transaction fees that make it where you're not getting 100% all of everything, all the money on the table, but you are getting 100% of your commission, essentially. And again, we're going to compare that to the splits. And let's say 70-30. We're going to do that comparison here. You might have a split that's lower than that. You might have a split that's more than that you're looking at. And you might be saying, why would I even look at a split? Why would I even consider a split if I am going to make more money in the 100% model? Why would I want to split that with a broker? Well, the key thing beyond just the money, so on that $10,000 example, that 10K is still 10K minus any fees. And again, these transaction fees are usually a couple $100, something along those lines. It does depend. It does vary based on the firm it is that you join with, based on what it is they're providing, because those fees are essentially the only income that brokerage has to be able to not just keep its doors open, but provide whatever it is that they're providing to you as an agent. Whereas over here on the 70-30, that 10K of commission is going to become 7K. Also, minus fees, because the fees don't go away simply because you have a commission split. They could, but chances are there's maybe a combination of those together. Now, as I mentioned earlier, these fees over here, which is basically all that 100% brokerage is getting, they're using that for the business. And this $3,000, that 30% here in this example, that along with the fees is helping to grow the business. Whereas this $7,000 here, that's what's going to the agent. And it's not even so much, I would even say, to grow the business, but I would call it to power the business. Because what you're getting from your brokerage is going to need power. It's like a car. It needs to be filled up with gas or plugged in or something for it to be able to go. And that's what your brokerage is. It's like a car. Now, whether your car takes electricity or your car takes gas or solar powered or helium or hydrogen or whatever it is that your car is powered on, maybe it's like a Flintstone mobile. If you remember the Flintstones, they were just like powering everything with their feet. Maybe you're being pulled by a horse and buggy. Regardless of how your vehicle moves, there's still going to be costs associated with it. And some vehicles, some brokerages are going to have more cost than others. And in theory, this doesn't hold true across the board, so you've got to do your due diligence, have your business plan, be finding that right brokerage for you. But ultimately, this $3,000 here, that's maybe going for a few different things. Maybe, and this is probably the biggest one, because this can be the most expensive one, is lead generation. Because on the 100% side, there's usually not enough money in just what the brokerage brings in fees to be able to also provide leads to agents. Now, you could have some sort of hybrid models where your base is 100% and then you could get leads on a referral basis, and that referral basis is usually somewhere 20 to 30% of the fee, just like a commission split brokerage, maybe. And you might say, well, what about if I just want to refer the business to another agent? Well, your typical referral fee is around 25%. So if you would typically pay, say, about 25% for the fee, for a referral fee for a lead that is given to you, referred to you, essentially all you're paying for everything else it is that you get in your brokerage is just that 5%. If lead generation is something that brokerage is providing to you. And honestly, leads can be worth more than just 25 or 30%. I have even signed a referral fee as high as 50% before, meaning that lead was worth 50%. And that's what we agreed to in this deal. It's not typical. Usually 25% or something in that ballpark is much more what you would typically negotiate with somebody for a referral fee. But if we just take that 25% number there, that means that most of that commission split, especially if you are getting leads provided as part of that commission split, is there to cover the cost of that lead. Because leads are not usually free. They can be free. If you've got friends, family members, your sphere of influence, you could go door knocking. That's a great way to get free leads. You could cold call. You could find free leads. You could be involved in the community. That's free leads. And so if you're good at getting free leads, that might be where this is, and let's not call it free leads because that sounds like a great deal. Like 100% commission with free leads, that'd be a fantastic deal. But no, your own lead generation. Because you can absolutely produce leads for less than 25%. Again, you could knock on doors, and that just cost you maybe some wear and tear on your knuckles. Maybe ring the doorbell, and then you don't have the wear and tear on your knuckles. Beautiful. It's a little hot out right now. It gets a little rainy, but don't let that stop you. Don't let that slow you down, because if you show up at someone's door knocking it when it's pouring rain out, they'll probably welcome you inside instead of making you sit out in the rain, and they'll see, wow, this person is really determined. But maybe you wait for the sunny days to go door knocking. But honestly, I wouldn't wait for any days to door knock. I would just get out there and do it if that is something that is part of your lead generation plan. And if you're choosing a 100% commission split broker that is not providing you any leads, then you will need to find a way to be able to do your own lead generation. And this could be through websites if you're more technical. It could be all kinds of different online lead generation. Maybe you're really good with social media. There's tons of agents that I know that just generate leads off of social media, and they don't do anything else to generate leads. And when you can own your lead generation, when you could do your own lead gen, that makes perfect sense for the 100% model. Because why, if lead generation is part of what you're getting from your brokerage, why would you basically be paying 25% when it's even your own lead? Because that's what I will say, to add slightly a little bit of confusion on the split side here, is on the split side, you're basically locked in for at least some period of time, as long as you're with that brokerage, for that commission split. Now, the way most of these brokerages work, because you might say, well, why wouldn't I just learn things, figure it out, and then go move over to a 100% brokerage? Why wouldn't I just figure out how to do my own lead generation, how to do my own business, all the other support, training, and everything else they might be providing over here in exchange for 30% of your commissions? Maybe that is something that you've got all figured out, and you could do it on your own now, and so you are ready to move over to a 100% brokerage. Well, a lot of these split brokerages have some sort of plan where you go on like this whole stepped up type of basis, that your commission might increase from 70% to 80% to 90% to maybe there even is a way you could get to 100. But the way this works typically is it's usually an annual capping system where you're basically starting back over every time you hit that annual cap. That's not all commission split brokerages. There are some where you basically get put on a permanent higher level commission tier. And there's also real estate teams where you could have a significantly lower split than, say, 70%. I've seen one as low as 15%. Now, the thing is, when you're just getting 15%, you're usually just doing some very small piece of the puzzle, some very small piece of the transaction. Maybe you're just the one initially going on an appointment, and then the rest of it is handled by everyone else on the team. Or maybe you're just out showing the buyers homes, and everything else, once it goes under contract, is handed by others. Those are going to be the situations where you see less money going in your pocket. And it's not even necessarily going just to the brokerage. It's going to your team. So one thing I want to bring up here while we talk about teams is, as a real estate sales associate, if you're brand new, this is how you would start. You would begin your real estate career in Florida as a sales associate. Now, a sales associate is required to register under a broker. Because as a sales associate, you're not allowed to do your own independent real estate transactions. And this would essentially be where you'd either get your 100% and you're choosing to be with this broker, and there's maybe, again, some sort of monthly fee, transaction fee, something like that, that the broker's doing to be able to, again, run the brokerage, provide whatever it is they may be providing to you as a sales associate. This really should be a two-way street. Even a 100% brokerage, what are you getting for that 100%? Is there any sort of technology? Is there maybe some sort of monthly fee that you're paying? Is there training? Maybe there even is leads. They're maybe just not as good of a quality lead as if you were to have a split or a referral fee or something along those lines. And one thing to consider if you are considering a team, whether that's joining a team or maybe you considering starting your own team, so we've got our broker, who is ultimately who is in charge. But a broker can only do so much on their own. And what happens, even if you are just a single agent, and let's say you're just a sales associate, you're not on a team. We have this agent here that is on a team, the team sales associate, and we'll call this one the solo sales associate over here. So if you're this solo sales associate, again, maybe this is the 100% commission structure. So you're getting 100% commission. But maybe you join a brokerage that is 100% commission and you're not very good at lead generation. Maybe you do need a little extra support, a little training, maybe even some hand-holding if you want to call it that, but something to get you going, to get your business up and running. And maybe then you could revisit the 100%. Or maybe you figure it out right from the get-go. I've known agents on both sides of that. Agents that would join at 100%, figure it out right away. Agents that join at 100% and still need more support. So maybe you do choose to go into that split situation, which even though this broker might offer 100% commission, if you're joining this team might be where you have, let's say, for example, a 60-40 split where 60% goes to the sales associate and then 40% goes to the team leader, which could also involve maybe other people that are involved in the transaction. So maybe that 40% isn't just going to one person. Maybe that team leader is providing additional training, additional tools, additional resources, leads, things that do cost money. And that's where even if you're at a 100% brokerage, you could still join a team. And this team could have its own commission split to where almost like the team leader is playing broker. And so this could be something you could be considering if maybe you've been an agent who is on 100% and you've figured things out, but you want to grow something bigger than yourselves. That's the perfect opportunity to create some sort of team to be able to leverage your strengths, help supplement others' weaknesses with the strengths it is that you provide, and ultimately form a strong team. And these teams could be temporary, they could be permanent, they could be, whatever it is that you want. In real estate, for the most part, at least in Florida, it's going to be pretty free will. If you don't like the organization that you're with, you could up and leave. But the one caveat to that is that all transactions are not property of the team leader, they're property of the broker. So any contracts, any active deals, any signed paperwork is the broker's signed paperwork. Even if you are a team leader, even if you are a solo agent, even if you're a team agent, doesn't matter, whatever you may be, the brokerage is always going to maintain the final authority over any deals done in that brokerage's name or any deals started in that brokerage name. So if you do want to go change to a different brokerage altogether, you would have to discuss that with your broker about what about these deals that I've got currently under progress. Are these deals that that broker is going to allow you to take with you in exchange for some sort of referral fee? Or is it something that is going to be handled in-house? Because they're not going to let go of those deals. Now, chances are you're not going to want to leave a broker. It doesn't really happen as often as you think it would, despite how easy it is to change from one broker to another. I could probably still count on one hand how many brokerages I ever hung my license with. I probably actually have more of my own brokerages than licenses than when I held my license at other brokerages. Because now I'm a broker. And once you become a broker, which that might be what you want to do as a team leader to take that next step, or maybe you've never even ran a real estate team, you're just ready to go right to being a broker because you want to own your deals completely. You want to be the final last party responsible for everything that happens in your brokerage instead of that being delegated to your broker. Because that broker is ultimately responsible for all actions of all of the licensees at that brokerage. And the fact that there's so many brokers out there willing to allow you and grant you that authority while still allowing you to earn 100% commission is huge. But the biggest thing is the lead generation. So if you could master the lead generation on your own, you're going to be in really strong positioning to be able to handle a 100% option. But if you have not mastered lead generation, that's where you would extremely benefit. So you could extremely benefit from either side of this table here, depending on where your skill set is at in the real estate industry. Would you benefit more from the 100% where you are putting more money in your pocket because you've mastered the lead generation and any of the other things that is provided by the brokerage, the training, the support, the resources, templates, whatever it might be? And you might be saying, well, how do I know what I really need from a brokerage? And my answer to you on that question is to do post-licensing. Your pre-licensing just teaches you a bunch of laws and rules and basic information that is required to get your Florida real estate license. And when you get your Florida real estate license, you're ready to put that all behind you. You're super excited. You're ready to go out there and start earning commissions. But then these questions come up, and a lot of people just kind of say, well, this one, I'm going to go with my gut, or this one feels good, or this one seems like it makes sense, or my friend works here, or a family member referred me, whatever it might be when it comes to choosing your brokerage. It might be just this person had the shiniest looking brochure, or the fanciest packet, or it was the best meeting, or they had the coolest office. None of those things are really anything that's going to serve you long term. Maybe if it's like a friend or family member, just having somebody that you could talk to directly. But honestly, working with friends and family could sometimes be more difficult than working with strangers. So it depends. And going back to post-licensing, you're going to develop a business plan in post-licensing. And not like some stupid college thing that is like a big research paper with a bunch of words in it, but an actionable plan of how you plan to generate leads. Because again, if you want to consider a 100% broker, you better have a solid plan for how you're going to get the leads to earn 100% commission on. Because if you got no leads, it doesn't matter what percentage of commission you're getting. You could get 100% of zero leads, and zero leads is no commission money, so that's no money to be made. Now you might say, well, how do I have a plan for lead generation? Again, post-licensing, you're going to start to learn about this. You're going to learn about all kinds of different prospecting strategies, some of which, like we talked about already today, from door knocking to cold calling to being involved in the community to influencer marketing, which is ultimately my favorite because with the power of the internet, you really have the ability to draw people in, draw in the exact right type of client that you're looking for your particular areas, particular types of transaction, whatever it may be, by simply putting the information out there that they're looking for. Now, where would you learn more in-depth skills on this beyond just what's in your post-licensing? Because the post-licensing is going to still be very 101. It's much more focused on business and real world compared to pre-licensing, but it's still very 101. And that's where a lot of agents rely on their brokerage. And that might be how that brokerage is earning whatever split that they're charging. Because I've seen split brokerages where they don't even provide leads. You're still expected to generate your own leads despite there being maybe a 30 or 40% commission split. But the difference being that they might have the training to actually teach you some more in-depth methods on generating leads. Or maybe you sign up for Real Estate Pro University at realprou.com, also known as TSRE Pro. This is where we have the for sale by owner fundamentals, the how to turn renters into buyers, how to maximize open houses for lead generation, all the different contract trainings, the mortgage 101, the VA loan 101. And if you're able to get all the training you need through a resource like Real Pro University, you might be able to pull off that 100% commission. But it comes down to your plan. What is your plan? How much business do you want to do? And then how many leads do you need to achieve that level of business? And then how do you generate that level of leads? What are the activities that you're going to be doing? Or are you just looking for a broker that can provide you those leads? And beyond the money, beyond what you're directly paying for, there is definitely the culture, the attitude, the mindset, those higher level things that could be more difficult to quantify, but they're really, more than anything, secondary to the money. And I don't want you to just blindly choose a brokerage based on it being 100% or being a commission split, because that's no way just to look at it at a single brokerage. That, yes, that's the first thing because it is the money. But now, what are you getting for that number two? What specific benefits that are going to help you achieve the goals in your business plan? What does that brokerage provide that can help you achieve those goals? And then number three, what about all the other stuff like the culture and the mindset and future growth and personal development? Because the thing is, that's all the easiest stuff to find outside of your brokerage. Whereas the commission split, you can only find that at the brokerage that you join. Because you can't get a new commission split unless you go join a new brokerage or join a team within that brokerage or opt into the 100% plan at the brokerage. That's the other thing. There's a lot of brokerages that will actually have both of these plans in-house. They might have a 100% plan as well as a split plan. Or it might be because this is where you're on your own and this is where you're with a team, because maybe that's what the team split may be. So there's a lot of different options out there, again, depending on what you're looking for. And the questions I would ask yourself, if we're going to run down the list of the top questions. Number one is going to be how to get leads. That should be your number one question when considering a real estate brokerage. How will that brokerage help you get leads? Or will that brokerage just give you leads? Or are you completely on your own for lead generation? Because that would be three distinct categories you could place a brokerage in. A brokerage that hands you leads, a brokerage that teaches you leads, how to generate leads, and a brokerage that doesn't do either of those. And for long term, I would strongly encourage you, even if you are being handed leads, if you've heard the saying before, you could teach someone to fish and feed them for a lifetime versus just giving them a fish and you feed them for a meal. So if someone gives you a lead, they feed you for that transaction. If someone teaches you how to generate leads, you can now feed yourself forever because you know how to generate leads on your own. So how to get leads is the number one question. Number two is what technology, because technology can be extremely expensive, and for whatever reason, the software companies always give a better deal to an entire brokerage that because they're charging one big bill. That's the reason why they could charge one big bill instead of 100 little tiny bills. And so they'd rather charge one big bill, and they'll offer a huge discount if they get a broker on board with that. So you'll see a lot of different brokerages offering all kinds of different technology. But one thing I would be wary of is making sure that it's good technology for you. If you're a super tech savvy person who always likes the cutting edge, most cutting edge type of stuff, who wants to stay at the fringe of what artificial intelligence can do and all the different automation capabilities that you have access to in this day and age, that's maybe where I want to rely on your brokerage as much for technology, because what's going to happen is that technology is going to be bottlenecked. Because when they have to roll out a piece of technology to 100, 200, 1,000 agents, whatever it may be, there's a lot of time that goes into them planning on rolling that out, to where I've seen where a brokerage will roll out a new piece of technology, and if it takes them too long, that technology is already outdated by time it gets released to the agents. And so lead generation, that could be something you get on your own. Technology, that is something you can still get on your own. And if you're choosing the technology, You get the choice. Yes, you are the one who pays the bill individually as the agent, but now you're not having to pay that through your broker. But if you're starting out, that's where this makes more and more sense, to where even if you've got, say, a 40% cut that's going to your broker, but that's maybe because not only are they providing you leads, not only are they providing you technology, but the one that I would say is really going to be most important to your long-term success, because even if they have you given you leads, even if they've given you technology, the magic bullet is what training. What are you using for training? Are you individually subscribing for something like Real Pro University? Or does your brokerage provide all kinds of great training? Maybe your brokerage is providing Real Pro University. We do have brokerage plans available in case any brokerages are watching right now. Call us up, 813-333-2676. And I would say these are the top three. Not really in a particular order, kind of, but they should be in a particular order for you. Because if you're new to sales, you're new to marketing, you're new to running a business, this is probably going to be your number one thing. But what does training matter if you don't have any leads to test it on? So these two really go hand in hand. If there's any one thing I would say is the least important out of these top three, it is actually the technology. And while technology can be expensive to be able to afford on your own, the reality is you could actually do a lot of real estate with very little technology. Technology is there to make things easier, to make things faster, to make you more efficient, to make you be able to do more. So it absolutely can be beneficial. But as a new agent, honestly, this piece right here is probably going to confuse you more than anything else. Because leads, these are just people. You just got to know what to do with them, and that's where the training comes in, to know what to do with them. The technology, however, that also is going to involve training to be able to understand the technology, but understand that the tech is just there to make you better, not there to be you. So no matter how much training you do on the technology, it will not help you lead generate. Lead generation training maybe involves technology, involving a website, a funnel, something like that. But if you're just training on how to use your contact manager and training how to use the CRM, it'd be a lot more effective use of your time if you're training on how to put people in that CRM. Or you know what, don't even worry about the CRM, don't even worry about the technology, and just worry about getting in touch with people and showing them homes and listing homes. And you do that, you'll figure out the technology at some point. But I've seen so many agents be deterred because of their, and I don't want to call it a fear of technology, because it's not like you're afraid of it, but an intimidation. That's really a great word for it. Don't let the technology intimidate you, because the e-signatures confuse everyone. So you'll be in the same boat, at least, being confused by technology. But if you don't know about real estate, they're going to be like, wait, why would I hire you as a realtor? I get it if you don't know how to use the internet, but if you don't know how to sell a home, well, why am I using you? So you're training on actually doing real estate, on generating leads, on converting leads. That's going to be significantly more valuable than any training they could, or technology they could dangle in your face. Training, absolutely, that's probably the number one thing. And very close contender for also being number one is leads. Then we have the other stuff like the technology, the support, the culture, all the other things they'll tell you about at the brokerage. But in my opinion, especially as a new agent, if you're looking for success, whether it's 100% or a split brokerage, it comes down to these two questions. How are you going to get leads? And then how are you going to get training to, number one, get more leads, and number two, convert? Maybe number one, convert the leads, and number two, get more leads. Yeah, we'll call it that. Number one, convert the leads. How do you actually take this lead and sell them a house or help them sell their house? And then number two, how do you train on getting even more leads so you could have even more business, so you could repeat this, so you can continue to grow and build into something bigger? And honestly, depending on your setup, that could be done with 100%. That could be done in a team environment with a split, or that could be done as a solo agent with a split. So don't let the commission split be the end-all, be-all and override everything else. Make sure you've got a plan for leads. Make sure you've got a plan for training. Any other miscellaneous things like the technology, the culture, all that other stuff, again, have an idea of what it is that you're looking for. But the two things that are ultimately that should rule your decision when choosing a real estate brokerage If we're not going to put commission in that list, because commission is something that everyone is like, yeah, I want 100% commission. Okay. But is that the best fit for you right now, or should you wait maybe a year to get into that 100% commission, or maybe 6 months to get into that 100% commission? Or if you really do want the 100% commission now, what is your plan for training, for lead generation, and anything else that you might need from those split brokerages? And here's the thing. You could go interview with these brokers, and you don't have any obligation to sign up and join with them. So you could interview with as many brokers as you want. And if you don't want to sign up with them, that's fine. They might keep calling you and trying to convince you. But interviewing with more brokers is going to help give you more insight. It's going to help you understand. Maybe you're interviewing with a team, and it's going to help you understand what training do they provide? How do they generate leads? What would it look like for you as an agent? And you're going to become so much more well-versed in real estate just by talking to these other people about the opportunity that you could potentially have. I mean, this is the money. This is what I ultimately want for you. 100%. And I think every real estate agent should eventually have 100%, if it's not right from the get-go. That is something I firmly believe. But if you're starting out, it might not be the best fit. And that's where the split models make sense. And again, there's even brokerages and team models that have these escalator type of structures where they either go up on a temporary or a permanent basis, where your share of the commission is increasing. So these are all questions to ask. Don't be embarrassed about any questions. If you're embarrassed about asking a question, if you don't feel comfortable asking a question, that is a major red flag that is not the right brokerage or the right team for you. Because if you feel like it's not somewhere where you're going to be able to get the answers that you need, it's not a good fit for you. And that might mean if you're looking for a high level of support, there might not be any 100% brokerages that provide that high level of support you're looking for. And that might be where you have to visit some of those team and brokerage options. But if you're a low maintenance type of person, you're really good at figuring things out on your own, maybe you already have a great network of people, whether that's coworkers, family members, friends, a community, church, whatever it might be, of where you know a bunch of people, because everyone needs a place to live. So it's really easy to know people, and you might already be coming to the table with that, with knowing people. Maybe you're a first responder, maybe you have a military background, whatever community you might be involved in. If you're coming to the table with people, you're honestly light years ahead of somebody that's coming to the table saying, okay, I need to be able to generate leads. But I would challenge you on this, because if you think you're one of those people that don't have any people, you're not. Everybody has people. Everybody knows somebody from somewhere, even if it's just people you interact with on a daily basis. It's just a question of, are you capitalizing on those opportunities? And that's where the training that you can get from your brokerage or from a place like realpro.com, where that training will help you bridge that gap between where you're at and where you need to be a lead generation master. How do you just strike up a conversation with randomly? How do you turn that into a real estate conversation? How do you put out content that helps draw these people in? And so real estate, if you're just focused on comparing yourself to everybody else and where everybody else is at, you're setting yourself up for failure. Don't make this a comparison. Make this a decision of what the best brokerage is for you. And not just based solely on the commission split, but based on what training, what leads, what commission split, of course, because we got to do the math and know, because over here, if you want to make the same amount of money as what you're making on the 100% side, you do have to sell a little bit more to make up for that split that you're paying. But the big question is, would you get that same amount of business over here on the 100% side? And if you've got solid training, and not that you've already done training. Look, I don't care how great you've been at sales, how good you've been at marketing, if you've ran businesses before, even if you've been in real estate before. If you've never done Florida real estate, there's nuances and things that you'll learn. But if you do have marketing, sales, real estate, any of that experience, you're maybe a lot more contender to where you could figure this out all on your own right from the get-go. And when I say all on your own, you're still not 100% on your own. Even though the saying goes, you're at 100% and you're 100% on your own, that's not usually the case. There still is support. It's just usually more limited support compared to what you would get at a split real estate brokerage. So I hope this information has helped you better understand what a commission split brokerage is versus a 100% brokerage. If you do have any specific questions about the different options, maybe you're weighing particular brokers specifically and you want to call into us confidentially, ask any sort of questions, run anything by us, reach out to our advisors, 813-333-2676. If you're ready to get started in real estate, we can help you out with that. If you need to do your post-licensing, we can help you out with that. Any of the FREC required trainings, we can help you out with that, including to get your broker license. We have live classes for that, as well as online programs. If you want to train to learn how to actually sell real estate versus just the laws and rules in the FREC training, we have that as well with realprou.com. So check that out, realprou.com, tampaschoolofrealestate.com for all the courses to get your real estate license, but it can be really overwhelming. And one of the greatest benefits of Tampa School of Real Estate is that you have advisors, so you can call into us 24/7, anytime, day or night. Ask whatever questions you have, and we're going to help you to the best of our abilities. And if you're wondering what's going to happen if I call at 3 a.m., go ahead and do that and find out, because we've got someone that's going to answer, and they should be able to do a pretty good job answering your questions. So reach out to us. 813-333-2676. That's about all the time that we've got for today. We will be back on this coming Friday for State of Real Estate, so don't miss out on that. I hope to see you then. If you have any questions, again, about a real estate career, about classes, about getting started, 813-333-2676. Again, 813-333-2676. Otherwise, that's all I've got for you today. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, and I'll see you on Friday.